Welcome to Under the Lens. Come and enjoy an extraordinary, raw, and unfiltered podcast that delivers debate, discussions, and interviews about film, pop culture, and everything in between. Here is your host, film critic and journalist, Byron Lafayette.
Thanks for joining us today on Under the Lens, where I have the privilege of talking to two outstanding individuals. Sam Haine was born 6 days before Christmas and grew up in the wilderness of Alaska, so the holidays are quite literally in his blood. The critically acclaimed comic Slow City Blues was his first series, but he also has 4 more new titles coming out in the next 6 months. When he's not working on comics, he's playing Magic the Gathering or Dungeon Mastering, and on Christmas Eve, he makes sure that A Christmas Story is playing all day long. The other individual that I'll be speaking with is John Schrad. He is a Los Angeles-based illustrator who has worked along the edges of the art world and in the heart of the entertainment industry for over 15 years. And now they have come together for a Kaiju Christmas, a Christmas book for all ages that is based on the night before Christmas. But instead of a Santa flying down to drop off presents, it's a giant monster snowman that appears through an extra-dimensional portal to ruin the holidays, and it's up to a brave group of children to save Christmas and the world. I hope that you enjoyed this conversation with Sam and John about a Kaiju Christmas. So tell me a little bit about how this wild idea came about. Like what was the genesis of it?
Yeah, I had done a book. I think y'all talked about it beforehand. Slow City Blues, and
Yes.
It was just this massive undertaking, and it's just so complex, and it took so long, and it was long and arduous, right? And so at that point, and it turned out beautifully, but and you don't mind if I curse?
No.
Okay,
no,
cool.
You're good. Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to create cool shit with my friends, and it just felt like, the first thing took 10 years. It's like, if I do one every 10 years, that's fucking ridiculous. That's ridiculous. And so it's once I kind of took that clout chasing, validation, chasing weight off of my shoulders. And I also we moved recently from LA to Denver, and I think that may have helped too, to clear the ego-free air. Not to dunk on anyone in LA, because John's still in LA. I'm sorry, you're trapped.
Yep.
But it's the floodgates kind of opened, and I got brought on to do another. I'm doing another kaiju book that I'm sure I'll be able to talk to you guys about. It's actually super rad. But this was the first thing I thought of. I love Christmas. I was born at the end of December. My tradition is my family's tradition is A Christmas Story is on in the background for 24 hours on TBS, and you watch it at least 4 times, right? You watch it once, for sure. You kind of watch it the second time. You let it go. You catch it again. Then you catch it once at the end, right? So, I want to do a Christmas thing. These guys who I didn't even bring it to them because I thought they'll never pay. They'll never pay for this. They'll never pay me to do this. But John and I have been, good friends for almost a decade. And I knew he was a good artist. I didn't know he was this good. This is his first time at bat. And so his first book out the gate. But I asked him, hey, what do you think? And I showed him, because it's based off of The Night Before Christmas, the poem.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's the cadence is still the same. So it's a poem. And so I handed him this poem, and I went, you want to animate? You want to illustrate this?
And I agreed. I got it in July, and we started talking about, we want to release this year. Do we want to do the Kickstarter in November? So people have donated by Christmas, and it's in that era, people are looking for things, and Christmas. Or do we want it out to them by Christmas? So we start in September, we can get it all published and out so people can have it. Problem with that is it narrows my timeline of actually making it. Again, got it in July. We're launching in September. This thing's done, baby. It's got to be done and nice and clean and ready to print. So
Man, that's awesome. That sounds like a totally badass idea. You know, especially based off of that the poem and everything. That's so cool because in my family we all love Christmas as well, and so it's like
Yeah.
as soon as we're able to start putting the decorations up and like doing all of it, we start immediately. So it's
Yep.
like
My wife's all about spooky season, and I'm all about Christmas season, and so I'm just waiting. She's like, well, we'll give it up till Thanksgiving. I was like, no, it's Christmas time now. November 1st. I don't like. Yes, Dia de los Muertos, but it's also Feliz Navidad, motherfucker.
Oh, that's absolutely true. I'm always like, all right, Christmas movie time. It's
Here
like,
we go. Yeah.
yeah, it's like the pumpkin spice lattes are the herald of Christmas to come. So,
Yep.
man. So you guys, from what I've heard, have like a relationship that have gone back, quite a while, like professionally and stuff. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. I mean, John and I are good friends. We've been good friends for a long time. He works in the entertainment industry, and for this like past year and a half too, he's like the head of his department, and he had a position open. So I've been like working for him. But before that, I was, and even like before Slow City Blues, I was a bartender, and he came in with his friend Mark, who's now my good friend. And he plopped in, like we're talking, we're like BSing. I'm, like it's like at a nerd bar in LA. I say that with pride, like,
Yeah.
it's a nerd bar in LA. And he just like tips me $100. He like slaps down 100, and I was just like, oh, like it's like that scene in Step Brothers. Like, did we just become best friends? Yep. So, granted, he didn't drink $100 like 20% worth. So he didn't like him and Mark didn't like down $500 worth of booze. He like they drank like $90 and then tipped $100. So
But good conversations and all that stuff, and it turned into playing D&D on Thursday nights with like our group of friends and hanging out, and I being interested in his comics and supporting that. And then over the pandemic, we did this fun little venture to just like restart me drawing again, because we're like, we have nothing to do. We're all crammed inside. It's March, April of 2020. Yeah. What are we doing? And that kind of like, once life got back to normal, it was a fun experiment. But then Sam actually came up and was like, hey, do you for real want to do art on a for real project? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. I would love to get those creative juices flowing.
And that's awesome. What was like the process of deciding what type of art you were gonna like design you were gonna choose for your kaijus and your robots and just like the world that you were creating?
Oh, the design work, it started like Sam pitched and gave me the poem, and I looked at it and I was like, okay, so this is very Power Rangers Voltron, but I have like a more like, much like his wife, I have a spoopy season macabre thing that I like. So I started doing sketch art and sending him like, here's the kaiju, here's my idea for a kaiju, and he's like, that's way too scary, we're going after all audiences.
Fine. Yeah,
and I was like,
children's book, like, my dude.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, we'll rein it back a little bit. We'll rein it back. But we were looking at, it's obviously coming from that, like I said, Voltron, that Japanese background of content, but we wanted to add that, that old Norman Rockwell Christmas time painterly, because I like the copy of Night Before Christmas I have is like full on hand painted works of art that every page is. So that was kind of the hybridization of those two. It's like take that robot Zord flying thing and then throw a painterly brush on it.
Man, that's very cool, because I was looking over some of the sample pages that I got sent, and and I loved it. It was the snowman was awesome, and like the portal, or what I assume is a portal, it was awesome. It was giving me all the feels of not only Christmas, but like kind of a little bit of like Pacific Rim, like Godzilla.
Yes,
yeah, that's exactly right.
No.
It's so instead of like 'twas the night before Christmas when outside the house, it's 'twas the fright before Christmas when outside the base, a rumble, a bumble, and a rip in time space.
I love it. Oh, some of my earliest memories as a kid are watching, the old kaiju movies, and stuff. I loved King Kong. I loved Godzilla,
Same.
It's like I loved one of my favorites. I must have watched it dozens of times. Was the Terror of Mecha Godzilla? I just loved that thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So when I saw this, it totally just took me back to my childhood. With those. So
yeah, and that's a lot where it came from too. Is that like the resurgence of like all the Godzilla Toho monsters, and so yeah, I've seen literally all of the new ones that came out, including like Shin Godzilla with in the Japanese release, and like, so yeah, it's all that cool inspiration that comes from that, and wanting to grow it. And it's 40 pages is a lot, which is what we're doing, but I keep wanting to do more and wish I had more time to just do pages that were like, there's no text on this page because I just want to do this cool shot, but I don't have the time. We have to condense it.
Yeah, so. I think I'm gonna beg John, because you watch whenever it's like Voltron or Power Rangers or any of the like what is that what do they call them in Japan? Oh my god, why can't I remember it? Sentai, right? The like Sentai stuff. It's like they always have that very intricate of like the robots are coming together. I think one of the first, if everyone digs it and we hit our goal, I think one of our first stretch goals would be like, can we please get one of those like one of those moments in there where all the Zords come together, instead of like the we have the like, it's Morphin time of all the people and then the action shot, but it's like, no, we want that, like, we want those transforming poses and like see the machinations of everything.
Oh, definitely. That would be awesome to see.
Right.
And yeah, because like just looking at the pages and stuff, I couldn't help because I'm a very visual person. I couldn't help to think like, man, this would make a great movie or a TV show or animated, even live action. I was like, man, I want to see this. It's like,
hey man,
if people like it that much, I'm happy to. I know some good animators, so yeah, get them behind it.
He knows some people. I mean, if people like it that much, and not to cart before the horse, but it's like John and I have discussed like a trilogy. So it's like I already have the next one pretty plotted out, and I kind of like know where it would end, but it's like we still follow the same kids and like their growing adventures, but it's like, but if people dig this one, and you want something for next Christmas, we gotcha. I give it more time. I swear to God, but
oh. Yeah, that's true, because I mean, there is a market for Christmas product, and Christmas fiction and comic books. It's a huge market, for it. And so yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this was very successful at all. I'm definitely going to purchase my copy of it. So
thank you. Thank you.
I
appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah. How did you guys decide on like the length of the book? Because I know like there's various like one shots and issues and all of that. So like, what led you guys to choose what you did?
I think it was more of John's did more research into this than I had, but I kind of broke down the stanzas and what we would need, and then it really and John, please correct me if I'm wrong. It was like I pitched it to you as 42 or 46, and you're like, kids books top out at 40, right? Like, well, and for me it's like issue 1 of Slow City Blues is extra sized, issue 2 was double sized, issue 5 was extra sized, so it's just like whatever tells the best story, and he's like, that this is the middle of July and you were wanting to do this in September. It's like, well, let's just make it 100 pages kind of thing. Where it's like, okay, I got to go back to the drawing board. I need to think of some things. But then John is like such a good artist where he'll be like this, that's 1 page. It's like, oh, I didn't even think about that moment or that beat. It's like, that's perfect. It's like, I thought I needed 4 pages for this one. I only needed 1.
Well, you have to. It's always compromise in any form of entertainment industry. So it's like we said, we'd love to do the reindeer Zords flying together and then transform and all that stuff. and that might be a thing we do in the next one if we don't get the time to do it in this one. When I have an entire month to dedicate to that just one 2-page spread. But yeah, I still think it's gonna be a very beautiful product, and the message in the reading between the lines and using the imagery to kind of help explain Sam's really good poem. Like it's on theme, on brand for Christmas, but it's got that fun, like as he likes to say, is Neil Gaiman take something we know and give it a, like, what is it?
Give it a twist. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Now it's going to be available via Kickstarter, correct?
Yep. It is.
Okay. Very cool. So when is that going to be available for people to go and start participating?
On the 6th, but we will make sure, I'm not sure when you put this up, but if you put it up early, we'll make sure that you get the link, not just to like the landing page, but to like when you like preview the whole campaign, so you can check out, like we cut like a teaser trailer that's very like Christmas action rock and roll, but for all ages. And you can check out all the rewards we're doing and the story behind it, and like the art that you guys got sent with like the stanzas that are connected to it, so everyone can take a look at it. But it comes out on the 6th, so it'll run for a month. Be on the 6th.
Very nice. Very, very nice. So as we come to a close, what do you hope that people get out of this book when they pick it up and read it? Like, as they're sitting down with their hot chocolate, on their couch, their Christmas trees, over in the corner, what do you hope that they feel and think when they get up after finishing it?
You go first.
Oh, okay. No, that's fine. I always ramble. I always jump in. I hope that I hope it becomes a tradition for them. It's like as soon as like you said, the pumpkin spice season is like the herald for Christmas. We're always waiting for like the 13 days of Christmas movie marathon or the 24 hours of a Christmas story. I hope this like slots into right in between ABC's families 14 days of Christmas and going to go find a Christmas tree. I hope they're like, oh, you know what we should do? Let's crack open a Kaiju Christmas because this rocks.
Yeah, and I think we are doing this for all ages because, as much as we say it's a children's book, and it is, we want the kids to be reading it and parents to be like, oh, you're kind of that nerd that Sam and I were growing up. Here's a cool book. But also that tradition for people our age, when we're at the age where our friends are having kids, we're having kids, and it's now I can sit down and show my kids or my nieces and nephews or something. This is something that is on brand for Christmas, but also might fit with your little quirks and things like that. So breed a whole new generation of nerds.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was already thinking, my cousin, he's about 6 years old, and I was like, oh, I think he would really dig this,
Nice. Heck yeah.
Yeah. All right. So last question I'm going to give you guys is, what are your top 2 kaiju movies and your top 2 Christmas movies?
Ooh. Christmas movies are controversial. Die Hard for sure, number 1. And let's see. Oh gosh. Let's see. I'm trying to think my favorite kaiju movie.
You only have one favorite Christmas movie? You don't have 2?
It fluctuates on the year.
I'll take your second one. You don't worry about that.
Yeah. And kaiju movie, gosh. It's gotta be like honestly, it's cheesy and it's like hipster, but it's gotta be the original Godzilla, the Gojira. It's just it's so moody and so on point of what it was, and then like grew into this.
I would say my favorite kaiju film is like the culmination of like the Toho stuff, where it was like all the monsters together. That was dope. I remember like watching that at my grandma's and just like I was a fat kid, so it was just like shoveling jelly beans into my mouth and like, yeah, this is great. This is great. And then my top two plus John's other one is obviously Die Hard. That's a Christmas movie. I don't care who says when otherwise. You gotta respect the tradition. A Christmas Story. You watch it 10 hours, in a 24-hour sitting. And then obviously, of course, Christmas Vacation.
Yeah, Christmas Vacation is really
good Lord.
I guess I'll probably have to go really weird countercultural and say Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is my other favorite Christmas movie. Deep cuts and Shane Black. Like I said, I have a bit more darker humor than Sam.
I'm a cheese ball, clearly.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, guys, I really appreciate you coming on and chatting about your project. It was a lot of fun talking about it and hearing about how it came to be and your favorite Christmas and kaiju movies.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
thank you
no
very
problem.
much.
Pleasure talking with you.